Welcome to Ebrix Gaming and Cards. In this series, we'll take a deep dive into various Magic the Gathering commanders to understand what makes them unique. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. If there is a specific commander you would like to see, please comment below. In this episode, we are covering Anje Falkenwrath. Anje Falkenwrath is a 3 CMC vampire that costs 1 colorless, 1 black, and 1 red. Anje has haste and can tap the turn she enters the battlefield, allowing immediate activation of her ability, providing an impact the turn she is cast. Anje's primary ability is an activated ability that allows you to discard a card to draw a card, and her triggered ability untaps Anje if the discarded card had Madness. This is a powerful synergy with Madness cards that allows you to rummage through your deck and is the main reason Anje decks can have 40 or more Madness cards. The Madness keyword represents 2 abilities. The first is a static ability that functions while the card is in your hand. When a Madness card is discarded, an optional replacement effect may exile the card from the game. When the card is exiled, it triggers the second ability. The triggered ability lets you play the spell for its Madness cost, but only until the next time you pass priority. You may play the spell any time you could play an instant. If the spell is not cast when resolving the trigger, the card goes into the graveyard. Keep in mind the triggered ability only goes on the stack if you choose to exile it as a replacement effect. If you discard a Madness card as part of a spell or ability resolving, both the Madness trigger and Anje's trigger are put on the stack once that spell or ability finishes resolving, and you may choose in which order you put them on the stack. If you discard it as part of the cost to activate an ability or cast a spell, both triggered abilities go on the stack above that spell or ability, and they will resolve in the order you put them. The benefit of Madness is it gives you the opportunity to play creatures, enchantments, and sorceries at instant speed. The game plan. The first part of the plan is to cast Anje as fast as you can. This is accomplished by using various ramp spells and mana rocks. The second part of the plan is to rummage through our deck using Madness cards. There are a total of 49 Madness cards as of the recording of this deck tech. The third part of the plan is to assemble a game-winning combo. The primary combo in an Anje deck is the Worldgorger Dragon combo. This combo is executed by putting the Worldgorger Dragon in the graveyard and then reanimating it using Animate Dead, Dance of the Dead, or Necromancy. When you cast the reanimation spell targeting the Worldgorger Dragon in the graveyard, the Worldgorger Dragon will return to the battlefield with the aura attached to it. The ETB from the Worldgorger Dragon will trigger, exiling all other permanents you control, including the aura used to reanimate the Worldgorger Dragon. When Animate Dead leaves the battlefield, the triggered ability to sacrifice the creature it was animating triggers. This requires you to sacrifice the Worldgorger Dragon. When the Worldgorger Dragon leaves the battlefield, the triggered ability to return the exiled cards back to the battlefield happens, bringing back the aura and starting the loop again. During this loop, all your permanents that normally enter the battlefield untapped are brought back from exile untapped. This means you can hold priority when the ETB trigger from the Worldgorger Dragon is put on the stack and activate your lands for mana and Anje to draw a card. If you need more mana or need to untap Anje to draw another card, you need to allow the loop to continue. This will exile your permanents and bring them back again and again, giving you infinite mana, infinite rummaging with Anje as long as you have a discard, and infinite ETB triggers. Keep in mind, if you do not have a way to finish the game during the Worldgorger loop and cannot stop the combo, the loop will continue infinitely, causing the game to end in a draw. There are 3 main interaction points to be aware of. The first interaction is preventing the combo, which can be done by countering the reanimation spell. The second interaction point is stifling or preventing one of the triggered abilities of the Worldgorger Dragon or the Animate Dead aura. The third interaction point is killing the Worldgorger Dragon or removing it from the graveyard before it can be reanimated. If the Worldgorger Dragon is killed with the ETB on the stack, the leaves the battlefield trigger will resolve before the ETB trigger, leaving you with all your permanents exiled. The main finisher is Avacyn's Judgment. It allows us to use the X Madness cost to deal X damage, divided as you choose among any number of targets. If Avacyn's Judgment was discarded earlier, you can use the Revolutionist's ETB to bring it back from your graveyard to your hand. This means with the Revolutionist, we can get any instant or sorcery spell from our graveyard. After we have started the Worldgorger Dragon loop, we can then loop these spells as needed. If the main finisher, Avacyn's Judgment, will not work due to being exiled, we can loop a spell like Alms of the Vein with Revolutionist. If our opponent has hexproof, we can pivot to one of our backup plans. After creating infinite mana, we can end the combo by targeting another creature in a graveyard with Animate Dead. Once the loop is finished, we can then cast from under the floorboards, creating an army of zombies and swinging in for the win on our next turn. If you want to add some additional combos, a lower budget staple in red is the Twin Flame Dualcaster combo, and some higher end combos include various Cloudstone Curio and Underworld Breach lines. Now that we know the game plan, let's look at creating our deck list. For this list, we are going to keep the budget around $100, but the difference between this budget deck and a competitive version is only around 12 cards, excluding the land base. At the end of the video, we will explain what these swaps and upgrades could look like. Starting off so far, we have our Commander, the Worldgorger Dragon combo, and the Twin Flame combo. Now we will look at 2 high synergy cards and the Madness cards. We will include a total of 44 Madness cards, so some of the Madness cards are only included for their synergy to rummage with Anje. Some notable Madness cards that can act as removal and burn cards are Alchemist's Greeting, Violent Eruption, Fiery Temper, and Psychotic Haze. For targeted removal, Terminal Agony has no stipulations, unlike Murderous Compulsion, Dark Withering, and Big Game Hunter. If your opponent has indestructible creatures, you can use Ecor Slick, Biting Rain, or Nightshade Assassin to give them -X/-X. This will reduce the creature's toughness to less than 0, sending the creature to the graveyard. If your opponent's creatures have hexproof or shroud, you can force them to be sacrificed by using Shadowgrange Archfiend or Voldaren Pariah. Other notable Madness cards include some Recursion from Call to the Netherworld and Grave Scrabbler. Hellmongrel can act as a discard outlet. Blazing Root Walla is a 0-cost creature that can be used as a sacrifice or in various Cloudstone Curio combos. Muckdrub can act as protection from targeted removal, and Psychotic Episode can sculpt your opponent's hands to ensure they cannot stop you. Senseless Rage and Abandon Reason can give a small buff, while Abandon Reason can also give First Strike. Malevolent Whispers can steal a creature and then untap that creature and give it haste, or you can target one of your creatures to untap it and give it haste. Distemper of the Blood can give a creature trample. Strength of Lunacy gives a small buff and provides a creature with protection from white. Now let's fill out our Madness cards with Necrogoyf, Anje's Ravager, Markov Baron, Kitchen Imp, Bloodmad Vampire, Bloodhall Priest, Gorgon Recluse, Jesus Bidding, Weirded Vampire, Incorrigible Youths, Insatiable Gorgers, Stromkirk Occultist, Stencia Masquerade, Asylum Visitor, and Twins of Moror Estate. Due to some vampire support, we have included all the Vampire Madness cards. The Madness cards we excluded are Brain Gorgers, Curse of Fool's Wisdom, Gibbering Descent, Reckless Worm, and Scophos Reaver. Gibbering Descent and Curse of Fool's Wisdom were excluded due to this list being a budget build. 2 high synergy cards that are included are Merchant of the Veil and Shadow of the Grave. Merchant of the Veil can allow us to rummage without tapping and is a needed backup if Anje gets too costly to recast. Since you can cast the adventure side, there is some built-in protection because you can keep it in exile where it is protected from graveyard hate. Shadow of the Grave can fuel our rummaging by refueling our hand with cards we discarded that turn. The next inclusions will be lands and ramp. We will have a total of 35 sources for mana, including 28 lands and 7 ramp cards. As the budget increases, our mana rocks will increase, reducing the total amount of lands. The land base is one of the first things that should be upgraded, as this will allow you to get both red and black mana more consistently. With the inclusion of mana sources, our total card count will go to 88. For the ramp and mana rocks, we have Arcane Signet, Rakdos Signet, and Talisman of Indulgence. These 2-cost mana rocks should be the first mana rocks you upgrade. We also include mana-positive sources in Soul Ring, Simian Spirit Guide, Dark Ritual, and Rite of Flame. For lands, we want to prioritize those that can come in untapped or allow us a better chance at a turn 2 Anje. For the $100 budget, we have 7 lands that can produce both our colors: Command Tower, Sulphurous Springs, Blightstep Pathway, Blackcleave Cliffs, Dragonskull Summit, Foreboding Ruins, and Mount Doom. Peat Bog and Sandstone Needle can help get us our turn 2 Anje. For basics, we have 10 swamps and 9 mountains. The next 2 categories we will look at are tutors, to make our deck more consistent, and protection for our combo. This will bring our total card count to 97. The first 2 tutors that are included are both tutors that can get Worldgorger Dragon into the graveyard. These are Unmarked Grave and Entomb. Keep in mind, if you have Entomb and Necromancy, you can start the combo at instant speed, potentially winning over the top of someone else. The next 2 tutors are Wishclaw Talisman and Mausoleum Secrets. Both allow us to get a card to hand. However, we must give the talisman to an opponent, and for Mausoleum Secrets, we need to rummage a few times to get a high enough creature count in our graveyard. For protection, we add 5 cards: Imp's Mischief, Tybalt's Trickery, Flare of Duplication, and the classics, Red Elemental Blast and Pyroblast. Keep in mind, with Muckdrub and Dualcaster, we have a total of 7 pieces of protection. With the addition of tutors and protection, we have 97 cards. The last 3 cards will depend on your playstyle and the meta in your local area. According to TCG Player Market Price, at the time of making this list, without basic lands, this card list is $99.90, right at our budget of $100. For the last 3 cards, you can add another piece of protection in Deflecting Swat. If your meta has more enchantment hate, you can add Chaos Warp for removal, or Mog Salvage for artifacts. If you're having trouble rummaging, you can add Faithless Looting to get rid of non-madness cards from your hand. If you want to go all in on a turn 2 Anje, you could add Skirk Prospector, Blood Pet, Strike It Rich, or Goldhound. When upgrading tutors, you can upgrade Mausoleum Secrets and/or remove a couple of madness cards for Grim Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, Imperial Seal, Gamble, or Demonic Tutor. Gamble can be good if you are searching for Worldgorger Dragon and you end up discarding it. Grim Tutor is the most costly of this group, so be aware it may not be good if you do not have the mana support for it. For mana sources, upgrading your land base should be a priority. By increasing the amount of mana-positive rocks, we can also reduce our land count. We still need around 35 total sources. Efficient mana rocks can be costly, but will show in getting consistency and getting Anje out earlier. We start out with mana rocks like Lotus Petal, Mana Crypt, Mox Diamond, Jeweled Lotus, and Chrome Mox. By adding Dockside Extortionist, we can include Cloudstone Curio lines, and by adding Lion's Eye Diamond, we can start looking at various Underworld Breach lines. Our final competitive version will look something like this. For our combo, we will replace the 2 cards in the Dualcaster combo with Cloudstone Curio and Dockside Extortionist. The next step is reducing our Madness cards to 41 and upgrading our tutors. We will include Wishclaw Talisman, Vampiric Tutor, Imperial Seal, Demonic Tutor, Gamble, Unmarked Grave, and Entomb. We upgrade and reduce our land count to 26. Some notable upgrades include the Fetches, Gemstone Caverns, and Cavern of Souls. For mana rocks, the first thing we do is replace the 2 mana cost rocks and then include Lotus Petal, Mana Crypt, Mox Diamond, Jeweled Lotus, and Chrome Mox. If you have made it this far, thanks for listening. And remember, this series is not only for understanding your commander, but also about knowing your enemy's commander. If you would like me to dive deep into a specific commander, please comment below.